You found your way to Whispers of Crimes, a quiet corner where the shadows of the past are gently told. Here, we speak of real crimes and mysteries, not to shock or scare, but to wonder, to reflect, and maybe to help you fall asleep. So close your eyes, let your thoughts slow down, and come with me into tonight's case. Today's story, which is one that still sends shivers down the spine of anyone who hears it, is the story of the mysterious disappearance of Elisa Lam at the Cecil Hotel in Los Angeles, a case that has captivated and horrified people around the world. Elisa Lam's tragic story has sparked endless questions, fueled theories, and for some, cast a long shadow of doubt over the very notion of closure. Was her death a simple accident, a tragic outcome of mental illness? Or was there something darker at play, something that remains hidden beneath the surface to this day? In this video, we'll be diving into Elisa's life, the strange events that led to her disappearance, and the investigation that followed. We'll explore the eerie circumstances of her death and look at the theories that have emerged since that fateful night. But most importantly, we're going to ask, what really happened to Elisa Lam at the Cecil Hotel? Was there something we all missed? Something more sinister? Let's begin this journey into one of the most haunting mysteries of the modern age. Please be advised, this episode contains content that may be upsetting to some listeners. Listener discretion is strongly advised. Chapter 1. Who was Elisa Lam? Before we dive into the eerie events of Elisa Lam's disappearance, it's important to understand who she was as a person. Elisa Lam was a 21-year-old university student from Vancouver, Canada, studying at the University of British Columbia. She was a young woman with a curious spirit and an adventurous streak, someone who loved to travel and see the world. At the time of her death, Elisa was on a solo trip to the United States, and Los Angeles was one of the stops on her journey. Elisa wasn't just another traveler. She had an interesting and unique online presence. She ran a blog on Tumblr, where she posted personal thoughts, photographs, and reflections about her life. Her posts gave followers a glimpse into her inner world, revealing a thoughtful young woman grappling with both her place in the world and her struggles with mental health. Elisa had been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, a condition that can cause extreme mood swings from manic highs to devastating lows. This condition was a part of her life, and she was taking medication to manage it. While there's no way to know exactly how Elisa felt at the time her posts on social media suggested, she was navigating the complexities of being a young adult dealing with challenges like loneliness, the desire for personal growth, and of course her mental health struggles. Elisa's bipolar disorder meant that sometimes she would experience periods of heightened anxiety or confusion. But those who knew her said she was well managed with her treatment, and there was nothing to suggest that she was in any immediate crisis before her trip. So when Elisa set off to explore the US on her own, it seemed like a journey of self-discovery, an opportunity to grow and experience life. Little did she know that her journey would lead her into the heart of a mystery that would never be fully solved. Chapter 2. The Cecil Hotel's dark history. Now that we have a sense of who Elisa was, let's talk about the place where everything unfolded, the Cecil Hotel. The hotel, built in 1927 in downtown Los Angeles, was once a lavish establishment, attracting business travelers and tourists alike. But over time, the hotel's reputation took a drastic turn for the worse. By the time Elisa Lam arrived in January 2013, the Cecil Hotel had become a notorious landmark in LA1 that was steeped in mystery and death. The hotel has a chilling history that spans decades. For many years, it was a popular spot for travelers, but as the area around it became increasingly run down, so too did the hotel. It became a place where people could stay cheaply, and unfortunately, many of those who stayed there were not in the best of circumstances. The hotel became known for its connection to various tragedies, including suicides, mysterious deaths, and criminal activity. Perhaps the most infamous part of the Cecil Hotel's history is its connection to serial killers. Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker, stayed at the hotel during his killing spree in the 1980s. Ramirez was known to have stayed in the hotel while he was committing his crimes, and some reports suggest that he would return to the hotel covered in blood after committing murders. Another criminal, Jack Unterweger, who was a convicted serial killer, also stayed at the hotel. These dark associations created an atmosphere of fear and mystery around the Cecil Hotel long before Elisa Lam ever set foot there. Locals and even the police knew about its grim reputation, and the hotel had become a symbol of decay, both physically and morally. For Elisa Lam, the hotel might have seemed like just another budget place to stay, especially since she'd been staying in a hostel-style room, one of the cheaper accommodations within the hotel. But the dark history of the Cecil would soon intersect with her own tragic fate. Chapter 3. Elisa's final days at the Cecil Hotel. Elisa arrived at the Cecil Hotel on January 26, 2013. She checked in without incident and seemed to be settling in for her stay. Her parents were aware of her travel plans, and Elisa kept in touch with them during the early days of her trip. She was exploring the city, visiting tourist spots, and enjoying her time in Los Angeles. However, by January 31st, her parents began to grow concerned when they hadn't heard from her for several days. They reached out to the hotel, asking if anyone had seen her, but there was no immediate answer. On January 31st, Elisa was last seen on the hotel's security footage, and this footage would later become one of the most unsettling pieces of evidence in the case. The elevator footage shows Elisa entering the elevator, pressing multiple buttons, and then acting in a strange and erratic manner. At first, she seems to be hiding in the corner, peeking out of the elevator as though she's speaking to someone who isn't visible. Her behavior becomes increasingly erratic. She steps out of the elevator a few times, looks around nervously, and even waves her hands around as though she's communicating with someone. The footage has sparked intense speculation. What could explain her strange behavior? Some people speculated that she was experiencing a mental health crisis, possibly brought on by a manic episode. Others wondered if she was being followed by someone, or if something supernatural was involved. After the video was released to the public, people on the internet began theorizing wildly about what might have happened. Was Elisa acting strangely due to mental illness? Or was there something else that caused her behavior in that moment? Despite all the attention and speculation, Elisa Lam's whereabouts remained a mystery after the elevator footage was captured. The days passed and the search for her continued. Chapter 4. The discovery of Elisa's body. Nearly 2 weeks after Elisa Lam was last seen, a hotel guest complained about the water pressure, and an investigation into the water system began. It was then that Elisa's body was discovered in one of the rooftop water tanks. This was a shock for everyone involved in the case. How could Elisa have ended up in a water tank? And how could it have gone unnoticed for so long? The tanks were located on the roof of the Cecil Hotel, and they were not easily accessible. To get to the tanks, one would have to scale a high fence, climb a ladder, and open a heavy locked hatch. How could Elisa, a young woman traveling alone, have accessed such a dangerous place? And why didn't anyone notice that a person was missing or that the water was contaminated? There were many questions about how Elisa could have ended up in the tank. Was she alone? Was she even able to access the roof herself? The idea of a person ending up inside a water tank without anyone noticing raised alarm bells. And when the authorities investigated the condition of Elisa's body, they found that it had been in the tank for nearly 2 weeks. Her clothes were still intact and there was no obvious sign of trauma. It seemed like a tragic accident, but the circumstances surrounding her death were anything but ordinary. Chapter 5: Theories and Speculation. As Elisa's case gained more attention, various theories emerged. Some people believed that Elisa's bipolar disorder may have caused her to act erratically in the elevator footage, possibly leading her to become confused and disoriented. Could she have wandered onto the roof in a state of confusion, accidentally ending up in the tank? It's certainly possible, as those with mental health conditions can sometimes have episodes that lead them to make uncharacteristic decisions. However, other theories were more sinister. Some people questioned whether someone had been involved in her death. Was it possible that Elisa had been the victim of a crime, and that someone was responsible for her death? Could there have been foul play involved, but authorities had missed it? The hotel's past reputation for crime and violence made this theory seem all too plausible to many. Some theorists even suggested that there could have been a supernatural element at play. Given the hotel's reputation for being haunted, could Elisa's death be linked to something paranormal? While this theory may seem far-fetched, it was enough to keep people talking and speculating. Theories abounded, but the truth of what happened that night at the Cecil Hotel seemed increasingly elusive. Chapter 6: The Official Conclusion and Final Thoughts in the End. After a thorough investigation, the official cause of death was determined to be accidental drowning. The coroner's report suggested that Elisa's mental health struggles may have played a role, and there were no signs of foul play or suicide. Despite the closure from an official standpoint, the case still left many questions unanswered. How did Elisa end up on the roof? Why did it take so long for anyone to notice? And could there have been something more that we'll never know? Elisa Lam's story continues to captivate and haunt people. It raises questions about mental health, the nature of travel, and the ways in which we understand the human experience. Whether or not we ever get a definitive answer to what happened that night, Elisa's story remains a tragic reminder of the complexity of life, the uncertainty of death, and the unsettling mysteries that sometimes lurk just beneath the surface. That's all for tonight's story. Another thread in the web of true crime, quietly unraveling as the night goes on. If you're still with me, thanks for listening. And if sleep has already taken you, may your dreams be peaceful and your mind at ease. I'll be here next time by the fire with another story waiting to be told. Good night, and don't forget to lock your doors.